friend, and welcome to another episode of the Quantum Paradigm Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little different. It may be a little heavier than normal. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in our country, if you're in the United States of America. There's a lot going on for a lot of people personally because we are on the heels of a very intense eclipse season, okay? So you know how I roll. I call a spade a spade. I don't really sugarcoat anything for you, and I'm not going to start now. It's been a rough week. So we're going to dive in. We're going to dive into what these energies and frequencies are about, and we're going to talk today specifically about what you can do to align your frequencies with your desired outcomes, even when everything is going to shit. So a little backstory. This past eclipse, the eclipse with the solar flares, with I don't even know what else has been going on astrologically. I know that there's been a lot going on with Pluto. I think Pluto is stationing direct pretty much now at the energetic degree in the house of Capricorn, the part of the sky of Capricorn, for the last time in our lifetime, because it has a 250-year orbit. So that's like a pretty big thing that's happening. There's a lot of things going on with Chiron in the sky. If you know anything about astrology, you know that Chiron is like the wounded healer. It's that wound that you may carry that doesn't ever fully heal. There's actually a lot going on astrologically about abuses of power being revealed, about sexual trauma and sexual abuse being revealed. Like there's a lot going on in the sky. Now, personally, in my natal chart, I do have Chiron, that it's being activated. I have a lot of other things being activated. This eclipse, like I said, it kicked me in the teeth. I lost 3 days this past week to a really intense migraine. I was basically in bed for almost actually 4 days. It was gnarly. It was super, super gnarly. I look back and I'm like, wow, I lost time. I was able to serve my clients, my one-on-one clients, and I was able to somehow be present for my children. But outside of that, I didn't do shit. I couldn't. And, and then Chiron, my chironic wound got highly, highly activated, and that was very, very painful. I'm not going to go into detail. Suffice it to say, I have been moving some very dense, very, very dense energy this past week, and I know that I'm not the only one that's been doing that. So, where do I want to go with this? What's coming through? So, yeah, okay. So on top of all that, because like I think it's really sacred and beautiful to show up as the human that we are, because I talk a lot about the epic and amazing dreamy results that occur for both my clients and myself using things like my quantum manifestation protocol, and those are real. And my day-to-day life really is a heaven on earth, I have to say. Like, it's true. And being deeply, deeply human, there are aspects of this 3D life that are just very, very painful. And we're just this big conglomerate of energy walking through this life as humans, and it's messy. It gets really messy sometimes. So it's just really interesting. As I've been observing myself this past week, it's like, wow, even though I know all of this stuff, right? I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly why. I mean, to an extent, it's still very, very humbling. And it just levels the playing field, and it reminds me that I am being taught all the time. I heard this beautiful quote. I tried to look for the original quote so I could give proper credit. I couldn't find it, so if you know, please feel free to DM me, and I will give proper credit in the next episode. But the quote was something to the effect of, if you are a teacher, know that you will always be learning. And if this is true, and it certainly is, know that what you teach will always be teaching you. And that has definitely been my truth this week. I actually had this profound experience this weekend. I'm not really one for seeking out ceremony. I don't seek it out. Ceremony, if I'm going to participate in it, which I do fairly infrequently, it's not something that, like I said, it's not something that I seek out. But I needed an intervention this weekend. And I had the opportunity to participate in an aquatic sound bath, which I thought was very fitting because there's a lot in the astrology happening right now about water. This weekend was a grand water trine. We are on the heels of a devastating event, Hurricane Helene, with North Carolina and those areas. We're on the precipice of a potentially devastating event in Florida. I think, I can't remember the name of the hurricane. It starts with an M. And so there's a lot of water. And then the Bosnian event as well. Like there's a lot with water. And when you look at the sky with the astrology and certain asteroids like Gong Gong and different things happening with Neptune, it's like astrology is extremely predictive, which is why I love using it in business. It's very helpful to bring to the table as one of the tools, in addition to human design, in addition to really just manipulating the quantum field, right, to align with our desires. So when I speak of astrology, I'm speaking of a pretty predictive and accurate tool, okay? So a lot happening with water. So having an aquatic sound bath using frequency to help these big codes kind of move through my body as I floated in this warm pool for like 2 hours. It was really beautiful. And it was this, I'm getting to the point of today's episode of what to do in the calm before the storm. But I just want you to plant this in your mind because we're going to come back to it in a minute. The art of surrendering to the water, okay? Surrendering to the water as an element. I'm talking about like spiritually, energetically, however you want to look at this. There's multiple elements that we work with here on the planet, you know, fire, earth, air, water, metal, according to traditional Chinese medicine, wood, you know, I could go on, but you get the point. So, okay, so I was on the phone this morning with my sister. We talk at least 3 to 5 times a day. And I didn't even know, because I don't watch the news. I get my information through other sources. And oftentimes I feel what's coming in the news before I even know it. And I have had this kind of restless energy, kind of like... I grew up in Kentucky with around a lot of horses, and like during tornado season, sometimes the horses would feel, not sometimes, the horses feel the weather before we're even able to see it. And sometimes they would feel a tornado coming, and they would just be in the fields and like pacing back and forth or just running back and forth and just kind of very, very, very restless. And that's the kind of energy that I've been feeling for a few days. And I'm like, oh God, what's coming? It feels personal, and it feels collective, and it feels really, really big and really potentially very, very shocking and unsettling and all these things. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad, although it can feel that way. So all that to say, I had this restless energy. I was on the phone with my sister, and she's like, I'm like, hey, how's it going? You know, how's your morning going? She's 2 hours ahead of me. She's like, I'm not going to lie, Allison, I don't get worried about hurricanes. I've lived in Florida for so long. But I'm pretty concerned about this one. And I'm like, okay, tell me. So she gave me the facts about the kind of hurricane that we're looking at down there. She lives directly in the path, just outside of Tampa. So I'm tuning into her intuition, right? She's a deeply intuitive being, and I was bringing my own intuition to play about how I've been feeling and having this restless energy for the past few days. And then she FaceTimed me and showed me from her front porch. She's like, look. And guys, it was just completely still. No birds were singing down, you know, in tropical Florida. No birds, no insect noises, no wind, no rain, just complete stillness, calm. And my comment to her was like, wow, This really is the calm before the storm. There's a reason that phrase exists. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, because as you develop and continue to develop your intuitive skill set, you will start to feel things before they happen, and you absolutely can influence the way that things go, but not from the way that you would expect. Not from the way that you would expect, because you would expect that you would need to be like in control and start controlling and manipulating things. That's a very masculine energy. I'm not calling masculinity manipulative in the least. So just hear me out. It's the doing is a very external masculine energy, and we all carry masculine and feminine energy regardless of gender. But in the calm before a storm, when something is happening, and you don't have to be intuitively feeling this to know, maybe you're on the precipice of a big move in your career, or maybe you're changing locations, or maybe your relationship is shifting in some way, or there's some kind of life transition you're about to undertake, and you feel the bigness of it, right? It can be a very positive change, but it's big energy. So if you are on the precipice of a big energy, you are in the calm before the proverbial storm. And rather than getting really clear on your to-do list and getting all in there about what you have to do, which maybe you still do that, I would strongly invite you to surrender. Use the element of water in the calm before the storm to instruct you, just like I was in that aquatic pool with the sound bath, surrendering to the water. The more I would tighten up my muscles, the harder it would be to float. The more awkward I would feel. The more I relaxed and yielded to the water and the buoyancy of my own body, the easier it was to just be carried, right? There was even a body worker in the pool with us. And at one point, she came up to me, and with her hands, she floated me and guided me and started unwinding my spine. She just would like take my leg and like start bending it and doing things and like curling me up. And at one point, guys, oh my God, she wrapped me up like I was a baby in her arms and walked me all the way. She carried me through the entire pool. As a child in her arms. You want to talk about a profound experience, especially for a strong, independent woman. It was just so beautifully humbling, right? Water carries this more feminine yin energy. And when we surrender to that, when we surrender in the calm of a storm, even if we see it coming and we know, right? You're not going to, God, I'm just seeing so many visions in my head as I'm speaking that it's hard to put words to this. Sometimes this happens to me as I channel. Surrendering is what is called for. If you are going through or about to go through a major life transition, surrender. Stop doing so much. Slow down. Slow everything down. See where you can surrender. See where you can yield. See where you can give up. Because you know what? When that storm comes, if there's less resistance on your part, it will go faster. It will go smoother. I don't know about the whole easier thing. The easy word is thrown around a lot on the internet. But it will be faster and smoother. There's so many connections here to my previous life as a childbirth doula and educator. Like, really, that's the kind of big energy that I'm talking about. It's like when something big is coming through, something big is being birthed. Maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're transitioning in your business to a new iteration, right? Maybe your role is changing. Like I said, some kind of huge life transition. The reason I want to speak about this topic today is because I know it's so very present for so many of you right now. So I know you feel me on this. And you're going to be tempted to get in your mind to control the outcome. That's what I need you to not do. Don't try to control the outcome. Do not. Because as soon as you do that, You're building the resistance, and then that storm is going to have to kind of fight harder to bust that resistance down. That's not what we're looking for. That's not what we're looking for in this season. We're looking for mobility. We're looking for a dynamic yielding to whatever it is. And here's the hard part, my friend. Here's the hard part. When you yield, when you surrender, you have to be committed to opening yourself up to whatever comes through that door. And that can be scary. That can be scary. I'm here to proclaim, I feel something insanely large coming through in my life. I know it's very, 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 very good. I can feel it. And this happens all the time. You guys know how psychic I am. I feel things before I see them. Before they come into my 3D field, I can feel whatever this is, and it feels incredible. It's amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's huge, and I'm scared. I'm scared of the beauty. I'm scared of the bigness. It brings up all of the things, right? Like, am I worthy of this? Do I deserve this? Am I this? Am I that? Am I blah, 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 blah. If you know about your human design chart, that could be your undefined ego center speaking, as it does with me. It could be your undefined identity center, the G center that's speaking, as my chart has as well. So it can bring up a lot of these stories and thoughts and questionings and what ifs. And yet you open to it. And you know what? There's a possibility. I don't agree with this and subscribe this, and I'm going to use my own quantum manifestation protocol right here in front of you, because I'm going to speak something that I don't want, which I never do. But like, there's a as equal of a possibility that whatever the big thing is that I'm feeling could not be good for me, or perceived as not being good. It could be really painful, whatever's on the other side of this door. That's possible. I don't believe it. I don't subscribe to that. So cancel, delete, I take that back. I rescind it and revoke it. However, what you must do and be prepared for in the calm before the storm is be open to any outcome, anything, as big as your best dreams coming true to the worst nightmare coming true. Now that takes courage. That takes bravery. And it takes a resolute knowingness of who you are and what you're here to do. And not everybody has that today. And that's okay. If you can't sit here and say, I am resolute, I know exactly who I am, I know exactly what I'm here to do, well, welcome to the club. Most people don't, and that's okay. And as soon as we do know, sometimes we get shattered on the rocks and we find out like, oh my God, what am I here doing? And we have this whole identity crisis all over again, or an ego death. It's all good. However, this knowingness within that you are secure, you will be okay, no matter what comes through that door. That is the bravery of a warrior spirit. That is the bravery of someone who's not afraid of their shadows. And if you have a natal Chiron aspect in your astrology chart, or even if you don't, like, everything that I'm just saying, it takes a lot of inner work, a lot of very deep, committed inner work. And so wherever you are on your journey, just know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. If you find yourself resisting the big change that is coming through, maybe it's this week, maybe it's up to a year after this huge eclipse cycle that we've just been through. It can take that long. 6 months is pretty average as well. But whatever these big life transitions are, change is scary. It is okay to be scared. I talk a lot about choosing a fear frequency and choosing to stay stuck in these beliefs. That's not what I'm talking about here today, okay? So please hear me. I'm talking about the human emotion of being scared of the unknown. That's your primal brain keeping you safe, and that's okay. And you don't need to choose that to dictate your movement, your decisions, your choices. You can choose to Be grounded and resolute with what you know about you. Who are you and what do you want? And if you don't know, find someone who does, that resonates with you, and get into their energy. Get into their energy and start trying some things out for yourself. Maybe you like this, maybe you like that, maybe you don't like this, maybe you don't like that. You'll start to know more and more about what you do want. Okay? So as we sit here in this proverbial calm before the storm, breathe. Just take a moment to breathe. Just take a moment to, if you can, go outside and plant your bare feet on the ground. Take a moment to find a tree, the larger the better. Place both of your hands on that tree and just breathe with it. Okay? These are deeply grounding, substantial things that you can do in the calm before the storm. And this will help align you with your highest spiritual version of you that knows what you want, even when you think that you don't. Right? So yeah, I think I've said everything that I need to say on that. Oh, you know what? Because we have so much water happening in the astrology lately, if you're in a place where you can safely get to a body of water and participate with that energy, great. Even better. Like, practice that art of surrendering. Okay? We all have resistance because we've all gone through difficult things in the past, and that teaches us to build these defenses and these resistances to all kinds of changes that are coming through. Don't demonize yourself for being that way, right? But where can you yield? Where can you give? Where can you surrender and allow whatever is coming in to come in? Are you willing to face it? Are you willing to embrace it? Are you willing to embrace it regardless of whatever it is, right? So, as we ensue this week, I have no idea what's going to happen. I just feel it. I feel it, and I know it's huge. And for me to get on here publicly and say that tells you the certainty with which I feel that. So we will be back here again next week, same time, same place. And I'm sure that a whole lot of other things will have come through by then. Until then, I love you, and reach out to me. Oh yeah. Hey, I have something to tell you. I totally forgot. I have got some amazing surprises for you coming through. Oh my God. What do I want to share? What can I share? Okay. There are 2 huge surprises that I have for you. One of them has to do with the step-by-step quantum manifestation protocol. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. Step-by-step protocol for you to manifest whatever you want. Maybe that looks like what I like to manifest. I like to manifest private jets in 12 days. I like to manifest $60,000 months. I like to manifest my dream house in my dream neighborhood. I need to take you guys on video someday. I'm going to get my house cleaner in here and tidy up a little bit. But I've talked about my dream house so much, and I don't think I've shown you guys. So like, shame on me. But these are the types of things I like to manifest because I like to have the environment. I'm a Taurus sun, Capricorn moon, Leo rising. Like, I like my creature comforts, right? But I like to have an environment that fosters creativity for my boys, creativity for me, comfort, just all of those things. So like, I enjoy manifesting things like that. I don't know what you enjoy manifesting. Maybe you want to manifest your dream partner or your best friend or your dream career or job or business. You know, I help people build businesses around their energetics, right? So that's all I'm going to say. Step-by-step quantum manifestation protocol. We'll talk about that later. And then the other little hint that I'm going to drop, the other little surprise that's coming through soon is, how can I share this without giving it away? Time in person. Intentional, magical just beautiful time in person. That's all. That's it. That's it. Other than those two surprises, let's see, at the time of this recording, it's still early October. I only have 2 spots left for human design readings until October 15th. As long as you select your date and time and claim your spot before October 15th, you'll be locked in. You can schedule it for November, December, I don't care, but it needs to be booked by October the 15th because the rest of my year is packed. That's a great place. A human design reading is a great place to start if you are looking for clarity on, like, what do I want? What do I want to manifest? Where am I in my evolution of life and what's going on now? So I have 2 spots for that. And I also have only two spots available for one-on-one mentorship. Now, these spots are actually going quickly. I have a lot of interest in the one-on-one container. And I only have 2 spots left because I serve my one-on-one clients at a very high touch point. I serve my one-on-one clients daily, Monday through Friday, and I co-create basically everything inside of their businesses with them. In a way that is built around their energetics and in a way that renews their energy and brings in the epic dreams that they have. I am so excited about the businesses that I am working on with my clients. It's incredible. And their aspirations like blow me away. They're like, yeah, I want to be hired by like, and then they drop like the most famous hip hop name in the world. And I'm like, oh, check. Like, that's totally doable. We can do that. And like just watching it, just manifesting this with them. Oh my God, it's so much fun. So anyway, but instead of going on and on about that as I can, I'm just going to let you know there are 2 spots available for that. And then there will be a wait list that is a minimum of, I think, maybe 9 months long after those 2 spots are filled. So please reach out to me if you are feeling that nudge of readiness. Like, yes, I'm ready to invest in my business in this way, to get a quantum magician with me in my corner, co-creating with me to so that I don't have to like spend years, kind of knocking around this idea and whatever. And honestly, this is for the people who do have a business already and are scaling or transitioning into a different iteration. So reach out to me for that. And like I said, there will be more coming down the pike. So stay tuned. I love you and I will see you next week. Bye. Bye, everybody.